Brian, don't forget to mute me.
Yes, I'll do that now, because I think we're ready to go.
Are we all?
I thought it was early.
Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Hey gang, thanks for joining us today on New Life Live. Brian Perez here, and the phone lines are open for the next 60 minutes. That's right, just 1 hour today, so you can get some great advice and counsel on communication, confrontation, insecurity, enabling, you name it, we can talk about it here on New Life Live. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call. And here to advise you today, our clinical psychologist, Dr. Jill Hubbard. How are you, Jill?
Hey, Brian. Great.
Great to have you here. And licensed professional clinical counselor Becky Brown's here too. She's also the president of New Life Ministries. Becky, let me guess, you've got something on your mind, and it's probably the same thing we all have on our mind today.
Yes, Brian. But you know, when disaster strikes, it impacts us on multiple levels. It's one of those things where if you've experienced disaster in your life, this will attach to those memories as well, but also the sense of hopelessness. And many question, where is God? Why did he allow this to happen? What can we do now? What will happen? And I'm reminded of all of the disasters that we have experienced over even in the last year. I think about the fires in LA that that was the news cycle at that point. This one is now. There was the North Carolina floodings in the fall. It just seems like there's always something, and that's just what we're seeing in the news. That doesn't include the stuff of life that we deal with day to day. So what can you do? What do you do with all of the news? Well, when we respond to disasters, God can call us into the greater good of ourselves. I think about those first responders, the people who through the night were rescuing people and who are continuing to do the hard work right now. But when you're back at home, like here I'm in Ohio, and I'm thinking, I can't do anything. Well, I can. I can pray. I can offer hope to somebody who's near me that has nothing to do with the flood. It's literally, how do we enact the greater good within our own communities? With the day and age of social media, I've seen some horrific comments that have been going out in regards to the flooding. I just think we need to have more Jesus in the world. And that, in times of struggle, can be the answer, that you can be more like Jesus in your own community. But what does the word say about this? How do you experience God's care in the middle of this? Isaiah 63:9 says, in all their suffering, he also suffered, and he personally rescued them. In his love and mercy, he redeemed them. He lifted them up and carried them through all the years. Some of you have experienced loss and disasters that continue to this day. You're feeling the loss. You're feeling the trauma. We talk about trauma here a lot. But what we know for sure is God is our refuge and our strength. He is with those who are in the recovery work. He's with those families that are grieving the loss of their loved ones. He's with those who still don't know. And I say that not to put a Band-Aid on it. This is much more complex than all you have to do is think and God's going to take care. It's not that. It's that peace in the uncertainty.
Yeah.
God can give us the peace that passes
Yes.
understanding.
Yes, He can.
That's what I got for today, Brian.
All right. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll get to your phone calls. 1-800-229-3000. Teresa, you will be first up on New Life Live.
I went to Every Man's Battle in 2012. My sexual integrity was not what it should have been. I sought out affairs, whether physical or emotional. Until I came to Every Man's Battle, I didn't understand that would never fill that void.
Every day, men struggle with sexual integrity. Impure thoughts, strip clubs, affairs, pornography.
The shame and guilt was overwhelming.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Intensive.
You will discover what the true root of your pain is, and you will discover how to overcome.
You don't have to struggle any longer. Get help in Dallas, Texas, July 18th through the 20th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register or to find out more. 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Enter the code NLL for a discount.
Every Man's Battle saved my life.
1-800-NEWLIFE and the discount code NLL. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
You know, sometimes we use the word guys and we mean guys and gals, but right now I want to talk to literal guys, men. The Every Man's Battle is starting next weekend in Dallas, and we've got some great news for you. We've extended the early bird discounts, so you can still sign up, but you'll get the discount as well. Could this be a sign to someone who really wanted to go, but with all the holiday hoopla, they missed the early bird deadline? Maybe. So call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or visit our Every Man's Battle page, newlife.com/EMB. This workshop can be a game changer for you and someone you love, maybe an accountability partner. Here's what one attendee said: I came to Every Man's Battle just to support a friend, but I walked away free from 10 years of shame. You can get on the road to sexual integrity at newlife.com/EMB or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Let's go to the phones now. Here is Teresa calling in from Cincinnati, listening to us online. Hi there, Teresa. You are on with
Hello.
Becky Brown and Dr. Jill Hubbard.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
I had more of a, observation than a question.
Okay.
Sometimes the answer is that there just isn't one, and you are where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry. It's
No, that's all right.
way longer my story is than the parameters of this show, but I will just briefly say it's chronic pain with chronic nausea and vomiting. I'm about 10 years in.
Oh, my.
My psychiatrist dropped me for being too dramatic because we had talked about suicide, I guess, and that is her word, not mine. I've had 2 life coaches ghost me. One after the first session, the Christian guy told me not to come back. I had something bad happen to me in the hospital. So I'm not open to medical care. And everybody that I had in my life is dead. And I guess this is where I am.
Dr. Jill,
Well,
what would you say to Teresa?
sometimes, Teresa, we have to look around and kind of take inventory, like you're doing, of where we are. And I'm so sorry. However you got here, getting to kind of the end of ourselves is really a painful journey, along with all of your physical pain. I'm wondering, when you come to this place and you're looking around and you're saying so many people are now gone, so you have incredible loss, and the ones you have sought have also left. And I wonder if you have any insight about why the ones that have chosen to leave have left. I hear you saying, "Oh, you're too dramatic."
Yeah. I think
because I think it's important to look at just even our small part in this.
I think they were looking at somebody that they perceived to be potentially suicidal, and they did not want to be treating a patient that killed themselves.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. And is that, a lot of times when people are in pain, they just want out of their pain. And so the comments about suicide are just, if I could just stop this pain, more so than maybe wanting their life to end. And I don't know if if they explored it with you, if you clarified about where exactly you were at.
I'm not sure how to answer that.
Okay. Because I think that is important. People, our first call to duty is to, one, do no harm, but to keep you safe as best we can. And that's one of the things that is an exception to confidentiality. If there is suicidality and it seems imminent, right, and you have a plan and a means and all of that, then they have to take greater action. If sometimes people will use that because they feel like their caregivers are not understanding the depth of their pain. And so they'll use it to express that. Or some people, and I'm not saying you, Teresa, but for the sake of our audience, some people will kind of use it in a manipulative way. And a lot of times that is where doctors will draw the line. That, okay, we'll treat you, but the chronic mention of suicide, that needs to be off the table. And so I think, go ahead.
I don't, sorry, I don't, we only had a couple of sessions.
Okay.
Had a sister that committed suicide.
You had a sister that committed suicide?
Yeah.
Okay. Which does make you a higher risk, Teresa. I'm sorry.
And I wasn't threatening.
Okay.
Because I had kids and I just...
Good.
Everybody says that, but it's not so great for the person.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I think in the whole opioid hysteria, which is completely valid, I understand, but I don't think people want anything to do with somebody who is sometimes taking opioids because they're afraid that they're going to come under some kind of scrutiny. That's just my guess.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Becky, what would you say to Teresa?
Well, I'm just kind of curious. I want to know how we can best help you today. It sounds like you have lost hope. Is that how you're feeling today?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know you're going to try and tell me that there is hope, but...
No, I'm not. I'm not going to. No, because here's what I wanted to say is I want to affirm that when you have chronic physical pain to the level that you have, it is next to impossible to find that hope because of the pressure. I've known people who have had chronic pain that it keeps them in the bed, like they can't do anything, and that's where the opioid use. Go ahead.
I was just saying, I don't leave the house.
Yeah.
I've got. Yeah. I don't know exactly why, but I think it's because of what happened in the hospital. It's gotten worse
It could be.
over time.
It
I
could
don't
be.
need to have. I'm
Right.
scared.
And so I'm
There's
sure.
something bad gonna happen.
Right. So here's the thing, Teresa. What happens is that it snowballs. Is what happens is you've got the physical pain plus the mental anguish, and then the bad experiences with the care can confound the process of moving forward. But here's the thing. I'm not going to say, just keep your chin up, Teresa. It'll be better, because that's painful. That's just painful.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to say is don't give up. And now that you are to the place where you can't leave home, the good news is that there is telehealth available. And what we'll do is we will connect you with help. But if I could say one thing to just shift your thinking a little bit, is there will be something that will help, whether it's medication. Are you taking opioids now? Is that part of your treatment plan? Are you with a pain doctor,
Yes.
pain management doctor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And it obviously it covers some of it. I know it's not getting all of it, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and that's also a stressor for you. But what I want you to keep in mind, Teresa, is you're going to need a team. And if somebody doesn't work out, that just means that you're going to find somebody else. And I also want to encourage you to find an online group or even a phone group for pain management patients. It's very hard to talk to somebody who doesn't experience pain like you do, and for them to give simple answers, and I'm sure you've heard everything, you should go to this doctor, you should do that, right? I mean, that it's part of the journey. But I want to say to you is yes, acceptance is part of it, and there's always a next step that can be taken, and we'll get you connected with somebody in your area. And
Well, can I just add, but Teresa, there isn't
course.
a perfect next step.
Right.
And
right.
so some of the talking in the group and all of that is to work through some of your fears. You had a bad hospital experience. Okay, but let's not use that to say then every hospital experience will be bad, right? You might have to do a little more homework in terms of, researching the help that you get to ensure that the experience is better. But there will be no perfect experience, and yet something, adding next steps in, even imperfect, can eventually lead to help.
That's right. I would like to send her Healing is a Choice, because, in that Steve talks
Yeah, good
through
one.
some of the things that we just talked about, and just trying to move through what is your reality right now. And let's everybody pray for Teresa in this
Yes.
journey, but we'll get her connected with some help.
Yes, Teresa, thank you for calling in today. Stay on the phone and we'll get you connected, and we'll send you a copy of Healing is a Choice. Let's go to Dale, who's listening to us on KKLA in Los Angeles. Hi, Dale. Welcome to New Life Live.
Hi. Do you want me to explain what I'm calling about
Yeah.
first? So, I have a widowed brother-in-law who, when my sister and him met, he got married, and I questioned him about whether he was a Christian or not. And then I guess he made an assumption about me. In 2019, I finally found out that I was autistic, which was about 20 or 30 years between when they got married and when I first met him. And I called him, and I was so excited because for the first time in my life, I got that right now, I wasn't having thoughts of suicide anymore. And I called him and told him, and said, "Oh, yeah, I already knew that." And I was so angry with him when he said that. He could have been helpful to me if he had told me that before. And his excuse was, well, when you tell relatives, they don't really accept what you have to tell them. But I wasn't his relative. I was a stranger.
This is your brother-in-law?
Widowed brother-in-law. Was my sister's husband, but she died
Okay.
11 years ago. So he calls me and sort of wants to make contact, but I don't want anything to do with him. And when I think about it, I have to walk through forgiveness toward that. So I'm asking, since I'm autistic and my sister is dead, which I would go to her for help with when I have difficulty with people. I really don't want to say this, but am I being too extreme in that? Because I really don't want anything to do with him at this point.
So, Dale, let me just see if I understand. You're angry with him because he was aware that you were autistic and didn't tell you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that could have been of
Yes.
help to you, maybe figuring things out sooner.
Yes.
Okay.
So how did he know you were autistic?
He has a master's in psychology, and
Okay.
from when I was talking with him, I was just straightforward. I wasn't social, I guess. So I guess he made that assumption by my actions and behavior that I was autistic.
Okay. So you're just... Oh, go ahead, Becky.
Well, I was just going to say, Dale, I think it's both. I think you can forgive him and move on. Not because I don't want you to move on in reaction or irritation or resentment. I want you to find peace with this situation. And you can hear the music, we'll come back, but I just think about those of us who are licensed and we've had all the things that tell us about people. If we were to tell everybody what we knew about them without in
Without
that
being
kind of
invited.
relationship, yeah, it would be a little tricky, and we might not.
Most
but-
people might have a different reaction than you're having. They might be upset.
Right. But let's work through that just a little bit after this break.
All right, Dale, stay on the line, and everyone else will be back to you as well on New Life Live. Thank you so much for listening today.
I became aware that my husband had had an affair. He was viewing porn on the computer. I was totally unaware of anything like sex addiction. Through the workshop, I truly believe my soul has been restored. The workshop educated me about what sex addiction was. It also gave me courage. I learned how to stand up for myself. Without a doubt, it was the most significant thing that I did.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Washington, D.C. November 7th to the 9th. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Enter the code NLL for a discount.
That workshop is where I found the tools and the people to heal from this most heartbreaking thing of my life.
1-800-NEWLIFE and the discount code NLL. Club New Life changes lives.
You guys came along into my life in 2022. That was a really, really difficult year of my life.
You can help New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people by joining Club New Life today.
I began to really process a lot of things that I've needed to for a long time, and y'all were a very big part of that.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to
I
help.
came out of it having never experienced anything like that, and y'all were there.
Join today and help continue the message of hope to a troubled world.
I knew I had to keep going, and I joined Club New Life, and y'all have been the resource that has now been a light for my wife and I.
Go to newlife.com/CNL, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places.
Keep doing what you do because it makes a difference.
newlife.com/CNL. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
And let's go back to Dale in Los Angeles. Becky, I think you wanted to ask him a question or make a comment.
Yeah, so Dale, what I'm wondering though is if this reaction to your brother-in-law is somehow tangled up in the grief and loss of your sister, that maintaining a relationship with him could be painful, bringing up the loss of your sister, because the good news is that you did have the discovery about your diagnosis of autism. I assume that you've gotten some help since then. Is that correct, Dale? Like you've got some support around you?
I tried to get help with that, but most people don't deal with adults that are autistic. They only deal with children.
Okay.
So I really haven't gotten any help. I've
Okay,
tried
well,
to,
and
but
Because
All
there
right,
are
well, so
support
it's-
groups and socialization groups and things that can be quite helpful for all ages.
yeah,
that'd be nice to know.
and I would
That'd be nice to know.
Dale, we'll connect you with somebody in your area, and this is just like what I was just telling Teresa, is we say this a lot on the show, is that we do want you to get good help, and it's going to be a process. And like you just said, Jill, it's not always the next right perfect step. It's trial and error, and it can be exhausting at times and frustrating. But the good news is, Dale, there is much more support out there for folks that are autistic. I've got a website I'll give to the call screener offline so that they can get you connected with them, as well as a counselor that is trained in adult mental health can get you directed to the next right step.
And Dale, you had asked about forgiving your brother-in-law. I think you do need to forgive him. I think you need to tell him that you were angry at him, but to also realize that, God has you on your journey and timing. And we don't know if you would have even accepted it from your brother-in-law back then.
Right.
And so to let him know, yes, you were angry at him, but forgiving him, and then also listening to what Becky said about exploring that maybe this has become a convenient excuse because it brings up feelings about your sister. I mean, you said normally you go to your sister for relationship issues, and so you called us instead, which we're really glad that you did. But it would be nice to have your brother-in-law on your side as well.
Should we send the Life Recovery Workbook for Grief to Dale?
Yeah, I think it'd be a great idea.
All right,
Yeah,
Dale, stay on
that'd
the
be a great
line.
idea.
We've got a lot of resources for you, including that book, the Life Recovery Workbook for Grief, which is available on the newlife.com store. Let's go to Michelle, who's also listening in Los Angeles on KKLA. Welcome, Michelle, to New Life Live.
Hi. Hi. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, great. Thanks for taking my call. Hi. So I'm trying to make my question simple from not a very simple situation. Basically, I've been divorced for 5 years. I was married for 24 years in a Christian marriage, which then no longer became a Christian marriage. But at this point, so I have a younger son who I'm now sharing with my ex-husband, who is 13 going on 14. And I'm having a little bit of trauma from what happened when my daughter, who's now 20, when we were going through the divorce, there were some lies told about me, some manipulations, some different things going on, and it really turned my daughter against me. I mean, the great news is that our relationship is great. I pursued it, and we're in a really good place, but I'm just worried that now these thoughts of, oh my gosh, he's turning 14, and now he has a choice of where he wants to live. I'm a Christian. My son's a Christian. My daughter just got rebaptized, but his dad is living with that's a new thing. His dad just moved in with his girlfriend and her kids. And so I'm just feeling a really push and pull sort of in my own heart. And it really stems from fear, I think. And so I'm just wondering how to move on and trust God and not fear that the same thing will happen again.
Well, I love that you have all this insight, Michelle. You've really kind of worked through that, but it's also that awareness of what has happened before. How do we keep this from happening again? Well, the simple answer is, if it were that simple to call it out, it wouldn't happen ever again, right? I mean, we hear so many people who, so I think the awareness is big. I wonder how your relationship is with your son. Do you feel
really
connected?
Good.
Do you have, okay.
Really, really connected, like very connected, very strong.
Well, that's good. That's good. Well, I was just going to say one thing is that what he's going to need from you, Michelle, is as he goes back and forth and he goes into his dad's new family, that's where the support is really going to be the challenge there, because he's going to be into this whole other family system. And at 13, 14, that's just a lot. So that's the conversations that you have to be ready for.
And it breaks my heart, honestly. I mean, I'm still grieving.
Yeah, so Michelle, you need people to talk to about your fear so that you don't overput your fear onto your son, right?
100%.
And so that's super important. And what happened, one thing, you know, it already happened with your daughter, but you're wiser now. And so you can go about it a little differently. But you also have to be aware that with boys at this age, they start needing dad more. And so keeping the communication open with your son, not being overly clingy is important, letting him have some opinions and voicing those things, and not just trying to speak at him out of your fear, I think are important.
We'll be back to you, Michelle, on New Life Live.
We've been married 33 years. We attended the Intimacy and Marriage workshop. Even though we've read books or attended a few other marriage weekends, this was certainly different and a lot more intensive than initially that we thought.
When you come to Intimacy and Marriage, you're going to be immersed into a 3-day process.
Was not really sure exactly what to expect, but the idea of learning to really understand intimacy was intriguing. We had been in the same patterns of struggle over and over again.
If you've thought, I don't think we can ever change, we're just in this rut and we can't get out, the Intimacy and Marriage workshop can help you get out of the rut.
The Intimacy and Marriage Weekend is July 25th to the 27th in Washington, D.C. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50. 1-800-639-5433.
I would highly recommend it.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
And Dr. Jill Hubbard, I think you had some advice for
Michelle. Hopefully you heard the things I was saying before. I think you do need to trust your connection with your son, and that realize that kids, they long for something with the parent that they don't feel as close to, the parent that's more distant. So it's not abnormal. And so it's important that your son not feel like he's betraying you by wanting some connection with his dad. But I think with this new living situation, you know, he maybe will go and try it out, but it is a whole, it's not his family. And so I think oftentimes, even when they go for a short stint, they know who the real parent is and they will circle back around. So don't be afraid. Trust the relationship that you have built because it's a strong one.
And can I know I wasn't going to say one more thing, but I'm going to one more thing.
Okay.
Michelle, don't feed the fear. Don't take it to your son. Don't take that fear to your son. Take that to a therapist or a girlfriend, but don't take it to him. So
don't feed the fear. So we were thinking of understanding and loving, what's the name of it?
Your child as a single parent.
As a single parent, yeah.
Yep, we're going to send you a copy of that book, Michelle. Thank you so much for calling in today to New Life Live. Here at New Life, we are changing stories of pain into testimonies of hope, and we can't do it without your help. Becky Brown, president of New Life Ministries, how can someone's financial gift make a difference in somebody else's life?
Well, you're hearing it right now as people are calling in and they're getting the help that they need for their lives. It makes a difference in so many people's lives. And there's a lot of people that we never even hear from, that this radio station or the radio station you're listening on or the radio show that you hear, whether it's the downloads or the podcast, you are making an impact with every dollar that you give. And in this day and age, when so many people are hearing information from so many different so-called professionals or just it's good to know that everything that we do here at New Life is infused with the Word of God. We believe in the power of God, and Christian principles are integrated through everything that we give, but also sound psychological help. We want people to get the help that you need, and you hear the pain that people call in with.
Mm-hmm.
Your donations help us reach out with so many ways. And what I wanted to call or refer back to is even our resources like our tip sheets and our library of tip sheets that are free. Like we have, I talked about the disaster at the beginning of the hour. We've got a couple that you can call in and get them for free. We want to help you get the help that you need. Please give today. It makes a difference in the lives of so many people.
Yeah, those tip sheets are called 10 Tips When Disaster Strikes and 10 Ways to Help People in Crisis. We can send you those at no cost when you call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Here now is John in Philadelphia listening on WFIL. Welcome to New Life Live, John.
Hey, thank you for taking my call. If I can just give you an overview a little bit of what the situation is, and that is that my son, when he graduated college, he went over to abroad, and when he was over there for about 10 years, he married a lovely lady, and he's a Christian, and she is as well. When they came back after that 10-year period, saying my wife and I were very blessed that we were able to have a house for them, and they settled into that, and we made it pretty easy for them to reassimilate, if you want to call it, back into the States.
Okay.
Well, what happened though is they had a child recently, a year old, and now they decided that they want to be world travelers again. They also think that this house is going to be available for them when they come back, if and when they ever want to come back. And my wife and I are kind of like, we probably realize now that we enabled them to do some things that maybe they wouldn't have done if they struggled a little bit more. So where we're at today is they think that this house will always be there and be theirs. For whatever they decide to do in the future. And we're saying, do we enable them too much, or should we just move on and say, okay, now you're on your own, do all your world traveling? And it's the easy part of how I rounded this thing out, but there's more to it, of course, than that.
Okay.
Well, and John, how long have they been back in the States?
7 years.
7 years. Okay, so...
Yeah, so he's 40 years old, and yep.
Okay, so they were, younger when they came back, and, families often help kids get into a first house. Were there any agreements or anything discussed about? Okay.
No, as a matter of fact, my wife and I, we were, in a good position to be able to let them just stay there, even though he really didn't have, he had a job, but probably didn't have the means to stay in a place like what it is, a nice place in a nice area.
Well, and the other thing sometimes we have to look at is, all of us as parents, we like it when our children are close. And so I think we are all guilty of trying to make it easy for them to stay close. And the fact that they want to leave again can feel rather hurtful. And so, was this house maybe a way of having them stay close? And now it feels hurtful that they're kind of ditching the gift, but expecting it. They feel entitled now, right? And now it didn't keep them close. Now they're ready to leave again.
Yeah, and then the balancing act is, do you feel like you're kind of reneging on the offer if you say, well, if you're leaving, we're going to sell it, or it's not your house, and how does that conversation go? But here's the thing, John, is there's some grief involved. Yeah, you know. And then there's that.
You hit the nail right on the head. I got to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we've done this a few times, and we've heard that same story. It just comes in different packages. But I tell you, John, there's also grief involved in the expectations that are lost here. You know, just like Jill said, especially if they have a grandbaby and they're going to take that baby abroad. I just know all of that. That's so struggling. But here's what you have to do is you have to get clear. Clear is kind. And so you say, you know,
that's good. I like that, Becky. Clear is
kind.
Yeah,
well, because it is. And but it's also a challenge with moms and dads and adult sons and daughters when these unmet expectations arise. And so having that conversation, John, when you go into it, has to be, you know, of course, we're surprised. We would love for you to be here. But we understand that this is part of your journey. They met in China. It's not like they, met here and now it's a surprise. But even if it was a surprise, this is their life. And so you support where you can support, and you gently state, if the house isn't in their name, there's no discussion. It's just, you will have to deal with that. And John, you and your wife can decide if you want to rent it out in the meantime, and if they get home and they can move back in. I live in a military area, and this is
too old for that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, to deal with renters, and we just figure, if they want to move on, it's probably best that we just get rid of the house.
Or they can buy it from you.
Expectations there, yeah.
John, they can buy it from you. You can offer, if you guys want to keep the house, you can buy it from us. I mean, there's lots of different ways
and rent it out. They can hire rental,
right,
people.
Right. That can be their challenge. But I want to say one
means for that, but yes.
But that's not yours to decide then. Right. See, this is where the over caretaking. You can say that, okay, if you guys are leaving now, this house is here and it's our investment. It was our investment for you, and so we're going to make some decisions about our investment now that you're no longer in need of it, and therefore. We might rent it out, or we'd love to offer it to you to buy, or we may sell it and invest the proceeds.
And here's the thing, here's the key, John, is do what you can freely do. You've already said you're beyond the desire to be a landlord, okay? So you don't even offer that. You say, listen, I know you guys are leaving. We need to do something with the house. I'm not going to take care of it. It's in our name. So we're either going to sell it or you guys can buy it from us. Just have those kind of conversations. But remember, pay attention to where the catch is for you.
Yeah.
And
not in anger.
Exactly.
Or resentment.
Could you clarify that, where the catch is for me?
Meaning not in anger. Or resentment.
Well, not only anger, but the control too.
Yeah, the control.
And John, here's the thing, put a timetable on this. I don't know when they're ready to go, but the sooner you get this resolved, the better your relationship is going to be with them. Remember, clear is kind. Do what you freely can do. We're going to send you a copy of Jim Burns' Doing Life with Your Adult Children. And, John, you want to maintain a good relationship with your kids if at all possible.
Thank you for calling in today, John. Stay on hold. We'll send you a copy of Doing Life with Your Adult Children by Dr. Jim Burns. We're going to take a break, and then we'll take some more phone calls here on New Life Live. I'm Brian Perez here with Dr. Jill Hubbard and Becky Brown at 1-800-229-3000.
Do you need help for life's hard situations?
My husband recently said he wanted a divorce.
I'm confused on what I should do.
I have an eating disorder.
New Life Live answers your questions on relationships, grief, addiction, trauma, anxiety, and much more, all from a biblical perspective with our panel of professional counselors and psychologists.
I learn a lot from your program.
You help so many people.
I appreciate your ministry.
Whether you listen or watch, there are so many ways to connect with us to ask our panel of counselors a question. Call us Monday through Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific at 1-800-229-3000 to ask your question on New Life Live. or go to newlife.com/radio for other ways to get your question answered.
I'm trying to find help.
I just want to know how to set boundaries.
If it's a sin, what am I supposed to do?
Need a therapist or a coach, a resource, or an intensive? Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Not only do we ask you to pray for the people who call in sharing their deepest, most personal struggles, but we can pray for you as well. What are you going through? You can submit your prayer request by clicking Contact Us on the footer at newlife.com. And at newlife.com, you can also make a contribution towards the work that we do here at New Life. You heard Becky Brown mentioning just a few minutes ago about everything that all the ways that we help people here on the program and even behind the scenes. You can do that at newlife.com, or you can call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or text NLM, as in New Life Ministries, to 28950.
Can I add one more comment about John? Because we were just talking about, I think when we don't share our expectations up front, it does create kind of some murky waters. And so we can always go back and apologize for that. And I think that's important. I realize we have different expectations, and I wasn't clear from the beginning, and I should have been. So it's kind of like asking for a redo.
Clear is kind.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We got to get that made as a t-shirt or something. Sell it in the newlife.com store. Here is Tommy in Oklahoma, listening on KWRD. Welcome, Tommy, to New Life Live.
Hello. It's good to talk to you.
Likewise.
My problem is with my son. He married an atheist. He's been raised in church. And it's about 4 years ago. She went to church with us right up until they got married, and then she stopped going. They went on, they couldn't have kids, so they went on and adopted 2 little sisters. And everything was fine for a while, and then it got to where she started saying yes or no that my wife could come see him. My wife is super outgoing, and this girl is totally opposite of us in the way we were he was raised. So one day she hung up on my wife and said, "No, you can't see the kids today." So my wife went over there to see what the problem is, and she barreled out the door and said a few things and had this recording on her ring. The whole conversation was, she went on and said that my wife attacked her and filed a restraining order on my wife. And we saw the video, and the whole time she's got her hands in her pockets. My wife does.
Mm-hmm.
And she was going to show this video to the judge, and when we got there, I was surprised my son was even going to go through with it. But they gave a no contact order for her and my wife, and she didn't watch the video. If she'd have seen the video, it would have been pretty embarrassing for her, I think. But since then, 3 years ago, we haven't talked. They blocked us out. Haven't talked to him. We live in a small town. They blocked us out on calls. They won't contact us at all or respond for Christmas or anything. So we are just lost on what to do. We just had to sit patiently hoping that, something will happen and he'll come by and want to talk to us or...
Yeah. Wow. Dr. Jones.
So sad, Tommy. We just hear so many stories like this. And so let me just clarify, you also have no contact with your son?
Just her and my wife.
Are the problem. So you still have contact with your son?
No. The judge just did a...
right, against her.
Against her and my wife.
Right. But what keeps you from contacting your son?
I knocked on the door, and he looked out the door and walked away.
Okay. Well, and that may be too direct of a confrontation, showing up at their property.
This was 2 years after all this.
Okay. Have you tried to call him? Have you tried to write him?
We've written letters.
Okay.
Well, we've sent birthday cards, and we're blocked on the phones. They've got us blocked where we can't get through. And she's confronted her parents, and the parents are scared of her because she said, "Well, if this was the other way around, we wouldn't have allowed our son to take y'all to court."
Mm-hmm.
And they said, "Well, we're not going to do anything to jeopardize seeing our grandkids."
Yeah, everybody's scared.
No help from them.
Yeah.
So
Tommy,
we have no play at all.
Okay, so Tommy, let me ask you this question. What problem do you want to solve? And I know that sounds random, but you've just listed a bunch of stuff. This has been going on for a long time. How can we prioritize what is the next step?
Well, really, there's many that I'd like, but I mean, ideally, I would like for her to admit that she made it up, but that's probably never going to happen.
That was exactly the answer that I thought you were going to say. And do you know why? Because you've talked about her as the problem. And what I want you to identify is the fact that your son has made a choice as well. Now, these are all very sad, very disappointing. But when you recognize, this is something we talk about a lot with recovery, is we don't have any control over other people. And so what I want to encourage you to do, Tommy, is I would love for you and your wife to get some support with a counselor to process all of this grief so that as you get back into relationship with them, there is a decrease in the pressure that you're feeling right now. When you talked about going to her parents and trying to get an answer and going to the front door and, we've got to turn that temperature down, not because you're at fault, but because we want to be ready to have a good, healthy relationship as far as it is concerning us. And I know that sounds very hard to do when you guys have been missing them so much. But I think that that's going to be your next step, is how do we get help with the grief and the support so that we can move forward in this relationship?
Yeah, there's just not anything it feels like that we can do to...
Right.
I mean,
so, Tommy,
I feel like we're being punished continually for...
Yeah, and that's what Becky is asking you to grieve, right? Because that gets in the way. And see, you're wanting the ultimate answer for her to, admit all of this. I think you have to set your expectations a little smaller. The order is between your wife and her. I think, perhaps you, without your wife, trying to contact your son, writing your son directly, could you and I, meet for coffee? Could you and I talk? The order isn't against us, and I'm wondering if we could start some type of relationship. and start
and he
there.
probably can't answer the door because she's calling the shot. So a third place would be a safe place.
Mm-hmm. But I think starting to have an inroad with your son and talking to him and just hearing him and what life is like for him. Because in order to survive in this marriage, I mean, he may be scared of her too. Right? And you said your wife is very outgoing and strong. Well, it sounds like he married a really strong person as well, and maybe bit off more than he can chew.
We're out of time on today's program, but we want to send you a resource from the newlife.com store. Becky, which one would you recommend?
Doing life with your adult children. That's the best one.
Yes, indeed. And we also have a tip sheet we want to send you. It's called How to Heal from Estrangement, Broken Family Ties. That's available to anybody who calls us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Good night.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.